your teeth are stuck in it. No.
Hey, everyone.
Evening.
Evening.
All right. So, Larry, I didn't teach you this earlier, but at the bottom, I should show a little video camera icon. You can tell it to start video.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's better.
There you go.
All right. Hello there, Bob.
Hey.
And Dawn, I see you're there looking pretty relaxed. And Angela's here.
Hi.
And Lisa. And Lisa. And
Yeah,
Russ.
Angela should be practiced with this.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Looks like J-Boz has some feedback. I had to mute.
There you go.
Sorry,
Thanks.
Jen. Yeah.
All right. It looks like maybe Russell's trying to get involved.
Mhm.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right.
Testing out the chat function.
All right. Well, this is certainly new to me. Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have enough people here to have a quorum, so let's go ahead and begin. Try to have somewhat of a short meeting, but we'll see how it goes. The March 3rd minutes, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's ages ago.
Angela, do you recommend that we have an approval of those minutes?
Let me ask you this first. Is someone taking notes for this meeting if John's not here?
Oh, that's right. John is not connected up.
Mm-mm.
Well, who do we usually go to?
Me.
Are you willing to do
I mean,
that?
you could record it, right? I mean, can we record it?
Yeah, this is being recorded right now. Just to make sure you guys know.
So no picking your nose unless you turn off your camera.
Yeah.
I'll need just a minute to get set up to take notes, Larry.
Okay.
So hold on just 1 minute here.
No problem.
Well, while we're waiting, one thing that I was going to save to the end is that the property that's by the coffee shop on 72nd and Canyon is now totally cleared out.
That's great.
That is wonderful. Thanks for that update, Bob. That's really good news. Is that the county going to purchase that property, or have they already done so?
Yes. I'm not sure where they are officially, but I know that there was money coming essentially from the county through the contractor who's in charge of whatever they're doing with that property, and that person was working with the property owner to get it cleaned up.
All right.
And so he was sort of feeding money through as they had costs that they incurred.
All right. Well, that's good. Good news.
I'm just taking an informal roll call here. Just one second.
Okay. All right.
It's nice to see you, Lisa. It's been a while since we've had you at a meeting.
Nice to see all of you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jen is here now too. Great. Hi, Lisa. Lisa's microphone is muted. There
I
it
don't
is.
like unnecessary noise.
I
You
see.
never know what'll happen between the cat, the dog, and the kid.
Gotcha.
Lisa looks adept at using Zoom.
Don's treating it like the movies. He's having refreshments.
No, oh, not the ones in my car. The ones
These aren't in your car.
on the piano. Ones on the.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yep.
can.
They're not here.
Yes, we can,
Oh,
Don.
look, one more time.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm ready, Larry, anytime. I'm all set.
All right. Just a quick word. We have had a Zoom call on our cell phones to our son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren in Titusville, Florida today. So
Mhm.
Love you too.
nice. All right. The minutes from March the 3rd. You probably don't have a copy of them on hand, but of course, we've looked them over. Angela, I believe you took those minutes that meeting, and
I
you
did.
were prompt with getting them out. So do I have a motion to approve those minutes from March the 3rd?
So moved.
I'll
that-
second.
Okay.
Is that Bob and Russell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be appropriate to say your first name and, all right.
That'll help
Um,
me anyways. I'm keeping notes, so.
Okay, by voice vote, let's, those in favor signify by saying
I
aye.
want to do this in the
Bye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Whoops, my screen went black.
Well, we can see you, Larry.
Oh,
Did you wiggle the mouse? Will it come open? Or the taskbar?
keypad, no, it just went black.
Oh. And he's back.
Yeah, but I don't have video though.
Oh, you can't
well.
see us?
I can't see you, but,
We can see you.
all right. Huh, I don't know what happened there. Okay, this looks like the ayes have it. And we'll go ahead and proceed on with the treasurer's reports from March, April, and May. I'd like to have the approval for all three at once.
All right. There wasn't a whole lot of activity other than we had some printing expenses, and we had quite a few membership dues. I think there's about 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Did those come after the newsletter went out by any chance, or do we not know?
some of them did and some of them didn't.
Okay.
I think the majority of them did come after the newsletter reached them.
Yeah, the newsletter is kind of a good reminder for people, so I think it's very helpful.
It's just
Yeah,
nice to know whether it's worth putting that in the newsletter.
Sure,
Mhm,
sure.
mhm.
And yeah,
I mean, I think it's worth it. I think it says that, we actually care and we're sending something formal out to people. you know, because we could just do an email, but that's, I mean, I think the newsletter's, I mean, a great way to go.
And some demographics won't even look at email or digital. So
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's fairly normal for that to happen after our newsletter comes out. So usually May, June, and into parts of July, we usually get a bunch of renewals and new memberships. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the 3 months, March, April, and May, their treasurer's reports?
I move to approve.
First name,
Jen.
Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Need a second?
I'll second, Bob.
Buddy is a 5-year-old.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's reports for March, April, and May.
Grade 6.
And
Mouth drop.
those in favor signify by saying aye, voice vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Legs to the
Aye.
kitchen.
Uh,
But
Any no votes?
you know,
Hearing no votes, the motion carries. So treasury reports have been approved. Nice job, Russell.
No problem.
Okay. I'll get down to that a little bit later. Mid-County Community Plan Revision, I take it that's still good, the website there to update the community plans.
Mhm.
Okay, I hear an affirmative on that. So if anybody asks, that's the website to go to take a look at the Mid-County Community Plan and other plans. I believe that those plans have now moved from the Pierce County Planning Commission to, I believe, the Pierce County Council. So we're moving along there as far as, but I think that has been delayed because of the coronavirus outbreak. So we'll just have to wait and see when new meetings will be forthcoming. Moving on down to the newsletter. It's been printed, mailed, and I also emailed the newsletter to anyone who on our mailing list had an email address, encouraging them to digitally move forward that on to others in the community so we can get a little wider distribution of our newsletter. Eventually, we should pass out our newsletters to some of the businesses along Canyon Road. There are some businesses along Waller Road. And I'll be calling people up to maybe drop some emails by their houses and asking them to maybe distribute them to some businesses as things start to open up again. Any comment on that?
Larry, I had something on the previous number 1. So when we're done with 2, I'd like to go back to 1.
All right, that sounds great. I didn't ask for comments on number 1. Okay. Any comments on number 2, the newsletter?
So we did put the newsletter on the website, and then we put a link to the website on our Facebook page
Okay.
with so link to the actual newsletter. So people know that it's out there.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Going back up to number 1, Angela?
I just wanted to make sure people saw we made comments on the draft EIS for the community plans, and the final EIS has been issued, and there's no public comment associated with the final EIS. So what you can do, and what I did as soon as that link came out, went and looked to see what the county's responses were to our comments. So they have to respond kind of line by line or, you know, topic by topic. And of course, it's kind of what I thought it would be. They kind of nicely blew off all of our comments on the EIS. So it was a little bit disappointing. But that's what it is at this point. So I just want to make sure people saw that. You can go into the EIS, and if you just Google Summit Waller, it'll pop right up. It's in the appendices where they've responded to all the comment letters.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Let's go down to number 3 then, the annual meeting postponement. I remember from conversations that we were going to hold off on setting a date for that. Any comments about when we would consider having our annual meeting, or may it not even be this year?
I think your last comment was probably the answer.
Yeah, I think maybe once they decide to reopen the schools, I mean, then we can talk about that. But
If you go to the OSPI website and you look at how they're looking at opening schools, the first point that they make is that there's no plans to do school in the original traditional way at this point.
Yeah.
And then you look at our demographic of who shows up to the meeting, and it's a lot of older folks, more high risk. Yeah, we might be looking at just waiting until next May again.
Right.
See, those are all points well taken. I talked with Don Brunson earlier this evening, and they're in no hurry to open up the community center back up. They're still doing their lunches to go Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You have to call in ahead of time, and they're $3 a lunch. So they're continuing that. They are considering the possibility of maybe some small exercise classes, but they're not sure about that even yet. In consultation with Don Brunson, doesn't look like we would be able to have a meeting there at the community center for the next few months, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll revisit that later on in the fall, but it looks like it's next year. Seems to be the feeling from everyone. Okay.
Well, put on one heck of a raffle.
Yeah.
Reed could still, get those flowers, those baskets, and, auction them off between the board members.
We could. Yeah, the guy that we get those from down there at the Purple Geranium was asking me this year, and I said, well, I don't know. I'm kind of playing it by ear, so.
I think I have a pretty good shot at it this year.
Yeah, real good odds.
Somehow my video came back all of a sudden.
Okay.
So I can see you all now. Okay. Wow. Good. Yeah, I think it's going to be next year before we can get back to having a general membership meeting, and I think it's going to be a little different than previous years. Who knows whether there will be a vaccine that's safe and widely available by then, even. All right. I'm having the same issues with the church that I'm involved with. Congregation is predominantly senior citizens, and there's been pressure to restart churches up right now But that's not going to be the case with the church that I attend. We're going to be going slowly in possible reopening.
Mm.
All right, let's move down to Orange Gate Park updates. Since we haven't had meetings, and my wife and I aren't going a lot of places. I've been able to get out into the woods more. So as you can see, the hours that I have contributed, and actually Dawn has been with me on a couple of occasions. So we've put in an average of, well, a little over 20 hours. And it looks like this summer, is probably going to be a challenge to, as far as people who are in the park when they shouldn't be in the park. The Little Devil graffiti has still not been completely taken care of. Still working on that with especially Tacoma Power and a few private areas, private houses that have been tagged. It looks like Seth has stopped cleaning things up. So I'm supposed to get back with the security guy at Tacoma Power with some specific utility poles and that haven't been, graffiti hasn't been removed from yet. I offered to take a belt sander to them, but they're not real excited about that. All right. So periodically I'm taking about a football field length with my high-powered battery hedge trimmer and weed whacker. They both operate off of 40-volt batteries and do a pretty good job, and kind of open up the trails a little bit more for better usage by horses and people on mountain bikes and just people who are walking the trails. So I enjoy doing that.
Well, thank you, Larry, for doing that.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yesterday was a little bit expensive. I didn't get out of the way of my hedge trimmer real quick. I nicked myself and had to get 3 stitches.
No.
But the people at CHI Franciscan, the urgent care were very nice, and I got in real quick, and it was fun watching them put those stitches in.
I bet.
Okay.
Can
All right.
I bring up a comment about one of the concerns I have with Orange Gate Park?
Absolutely, Don.
Okay, you and I toured the park a month and a half ago, and I pointed out the existence of poison hemlock.
Yes.
And I contacted the park board. That was before we went into complete shutdown, and requested the meeting with an individual to discuss that scenario. Well, it finally came to fruition, and a week later, the individual was out with a machete chopping down what I thought at the moment was poison hemlock, but it was a water hemlock. Very, very close in structure and toxicity. And to make a longer story short, I've also been in a conversation with Pierce County noxious weed control folks up there on where the county office is on 122nd and 96th. And it's each of these government entities have their own priority on what is toxic at the moment. The state, it's the Scotch broom. the county is not any of the hemlocks. And then I go to the United States Department of Agriculture website, and the one that the county is not concerned with is water hemlock, which in fact is one of the most toxic plants in the United States. So each one of these jurisdictions has their, call it the flavor of the month, what they want to concentrate on. So the park, in fact, is loaded with poisonous hemlock, whether you want to call it water hemlock, which is there, or poison hemlock, which is also there. All the parks are, right now, nobody wants to do anything. They don't have the time and the resources. So trails, you're at risk if you don't know the product. It will sting you. It will burn you. If you ingest it, it will kill you. But I don't think we're up to grazing on the hemlock right now. But that's what I'm encountering dealing with public entities when they have their own agendas.
That's a good point, Don. I remember when we went over there to check out a portion of where the hemlock was. It was only about ankle high, and within 3 weeks, it was 5 feet high.
Right. And if you're walking those trails, and you know the one that goes through the meadow where the big patch was, Larry, you cannot walk down that dirt path, especially with little children, and they got their arms, you got it brushing your body on both sides. So I think it's a health hazard that the county does not want, for some reason, does not want to make a priority.
Okay. Did we have another person join us? Has Mark joined us?
Yeah, Mark's on. He just hasn't.
I'm here, Larry.
Oh, good, good. Glad to have you aboard. I think I'll make a point of taking my good friend, Mr. Roundup, with me over to Orange Gate Park and have a look at that.
Well, you don't want to tell anybody you're using Roundup over there.
No, it's my friend, Mr. Roundup.
Okay.
All right. Angela, you had something you wanted to tell us about as far as the Orange Gate $50 Park Master Plan process.
Yeah. So Tiffany Odell, who's the parks planner that is leading up the master plan for both Orange Gate and $50 Park, she's going to be heading off to maternity leave here for a short bit. But in the meantime, they held interviews for consultants to help them develop those plans. And they do have someone on board now, or almost on board. So I wanted to read you an update that she sent me a week or so ago. She says, in case anyone asks before I leave. So I just wanted to give a quick update. So she says they're still in the process of getting the consultant under contract. And just so you all know, the county is scrutinizing every dollar that we spend on consultant support, because they're doing 5% budget cuts across the board in every department. And then they're trying to make sure that we spend less on consultants that we don't need to. So every time we say we need to use a consultant, there's a lot of scrutiny associated with that, which Tiffany's experiencing. Once that contract is in place, the consultant will start doing some basic site feasibility work. They plan on doing some interviewing of stakeholders, and they're already very aware of our organization and you, Larry. So they'll be reaching out to you.
Right.
They'll be preparing for public outreach that will take place in the fall. That's probably going to look very different than what we would normally see with an open house or an information table somewhere. It might be more virtual or phone call or online type of outreach. Again, that's going to happen in the fall and winter. And so they are hoping to have the updated master plan complete in early 2021. so that they could start design and engineering for a phase 1 construction in the years 2022 and 2023. And so if you have questions while Tiffany is out on leave over the summer, then Cindy Haverkamp is going to be the project manager for that. So we still have a point of contact if things come up while Tiffany is out. So I just wanted to pass that on to you all.
Would you email us the name of that gal and her contact information?
I can, yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments?
I will say that I got to sit on the interview panel as a public works employee, but also as a Summit Waller board member. And I'm really happy with the consultant that they've picked. It's a kind of a team of people with a couple of different consultant firms together that have created this team, and they did their homework. They went onto our website before now that it's new and pretty, but they went on there, they read old newsletters, they read our posts, they actually did some digging because they figured out that our organization was very integral into the ownership and maintenance of Orangegate. And so I was really pleased to see how they kept mentioning that and kept talking about how important having the community help develop the plan was really integral into their approach. So I'm super excited for what they're gonna do. So
Good. All right. Any other comments? All right. Let's move on now to number 5. Our Community Association District. Gabriel, anything that you would like to say about our website, etc.?
Well, it's as you can see, very different looking. Navigation's changed. Just a general easier to read. I was trying to focus on making sure that our senior population, that eyesight is probably not the best anymore, and much more easily read that. And also just so it's easy to navigate on both a mobile device like a cell phone and also on a web browser on a computer. So those were the focuses there. So it looks a lot different. As I mentioned in email, I'm looking at doing an Instagram drive for pictures to try to get people to take a little bit more ownership of the community. I had thrown out a hashtag. Angela also threw out a similar hashtag as to what we can do to try to motivate people to take pictures and tag that, so we can get some different views of the community based on people, and they have a little bit more investment in there. So I was thinking maybe we could use the Summit Waller community Facebook page to maybe do a poll and see which of the hashtags would work out better, and to motivate them to again engage with that effort and then keep people more engaged in the community.
that's a good idea, Gabe.
Yeah, that is a great idea.
Okay, because I've got about 4 different hashtags. It's I'll put them up there, but just some very simple things. It's my Summit Waller, or our Summit Waller, or Summit Waller Life. Something that's just a little bit more direct. My take on this, the My Summit Waller, was more of trying to cater towards Instagram semi-narcissistic properties of people really taking ownership for something, and everyone wants it to be theirs. And so that hour is more of a community thing, which I understand is a really driving force too. And then the Summit Waller Life is just more general. So I think I had one more idea in there on the list. I don't have it in front of me right now, but we can put that up for vote on there, and whatever shows up there, I can then put in towards automatically just pulls that hashtag off of Instagram. Anybody that submits a picture, posts it there. If it becomes a problem, obviously we'd have to, change that. But right now it's just pulling the generic Summit Waller hashtag that people actually already had been posting on their Instagram without any prompting. And so as you can see, if you look at the pictures, it's kind of a random assortment. So this would be a way of getting away from whatever was just previously done by who knows what and why, to a more considerate effort to submit pictures. Other than that, I guess Don would probably be a good one for this. We need to look at doing the neighborhood watch page. Right now it's in a state of halfway, not really anything there. Contact form, maybe have it to where people can submit and using an actual form on there. People enter a name, an email address, maybe a phone number optional, and some information about why they're contacting us. Like, do they want to submit something new to the website for a resource? They have a question about the website, something that they can then engage, and then we have to figure out who's going to get that information and disseminate that to the rest of the group. So right now, that's where we're at.
You know, I kind of want to say that maybe Don Brunson's name and the neighborhood watch email list and his phone number, I think that's pretty much the way he operates. He gets calls from people who have something to tell him about as far as crime that might be going on in the neighborhoods. I'm not sure whether he's set up to deal with forms right now, but I can give him a jingle in the next couple of days and find out maybe what's the best avenue for him to be contacted, because I'm not sure whether I know he's not set up to do Zoom meetings.
Okay.
He barely even checks his email.
Yeah.
His
And-
wife
Yeah.
checks his email for him.
Yeah, the reason I
So-
mentioned the form is if you look on the screen now, I've just highlighted the actual page says to fill out a report, the form below, and there's no form to fill out. So I can remove that and just say, call this number,
Yeah,
like it says
just-
in this. Yeah.
yeah, just call Don Brunson, Waller Road Neighborhood Watch, and his phone number.
Okay. I don't have,
I'll
Please,
I'll
yeah.
email that to you.
yeah, send me his contact info. I'll put that up there. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I saw something when I went on that page, and I don't know, Gabe, if it's down below your suspicious activities to report. It referenced the non-emergency number, and I was a little bit surprised that if it's a suspicious activity, when do you how do you delineate between calling 911 and the general contact, which is not always available 24 hours a day?
Right. So I might just put in something a little bit more with like this area, or call 911 when an immediate response is needed. And that's going to be up to people's independent decision process right there. Someone
Okay.
might feel something's urgent and important now, and other people might go, oh, it could be dealt with in an hour or two or whatever when they get back to the phone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But obviously 911 is something we don't want to overload if it's not necessary. And just,
Yeah,
I
I
don't want to give the wrong advice.
I know Don says to call 911 if it's a real emergency, life-threatening emergency, and then to call him. But if it's not a life-threatening emergency, call the non-emergency sheriff's number, then call him.
Oh, so to report it to both. Okay. So I can actually add that on to the neighborhood watch if somebody wants to do that part. But not everybody's going to want to report to two people necessarily. Just most people coming here will
No.
want to go find a number to call. You know, for example, like your don't call 911 for firework complaints.
Mhm.
You know, that was one that was on the original list of this.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and then-
Yeah.
so just information. So anything that we find on here that would be a good 911 candidate to call, I mean, by all means, I can add that description in there so people can do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering maybe if we could just add Don's phone number to what you're showing us here, Gabe, to report a crime. And maybe down at the bottom, you can say Waller Road Neighborhood Watch contact is blankety blankety blank, just as another resource.
Okay. I can either do that or I can link it to the actual page we have for the neighborhood watch. And that
Oh,
way they can get
okay.
the-
Yeah. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes,
Yeah.
Yep.
That is Don's home phone number.
So I just need to put a name on there. Okay.
Yeah. And Don Brunson is DONN, and then Brunson BRUNSON.
Mhm.
And it's Waller Road Neighborhood Watch.
Okay,
I can
Waller Road.
also
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Waller-
called Waller Road. Mhm.
Waller Road Neighborhood Watch.
Okay.
would you want, I wonder if they also have an email address too.
Yeah, if
Oh,
somebody has
boy.
that email address, I'm happy to put that in there too.
Yeah, I'll
Call
email
or
that
email,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. And there's actually a Fairview Neighborhood Watch too in my neighborhood. I don't know if we want to add an additional one there. I'll ask Becky Adler and Todd whether they would want that on our website or not. And if they do, then I'll give that information to you as well.
Okay. So
Yeah, I think
backing up.
the more resources that you add, Larry, the better, especially if it's people that live in that specific community, or maybe they live out towards me, or
Yeah.
wherever. I mean, I think that the more we add, the better, if they're comfortable with that.
Yeah. Okay. I may have another neighborhood watch group that's west of me that I usually send stuff to. I'll have to give them a call and see whether they want something similar. I'm not even sure what their name is.
Yeah, if there's a few out there, we can add that to that neighborhood watch list too. So that way people are
Okay.
more targeted. So the last thing was we had brought this up before about not putting out people's personal email addresses, ideally. I can mask people's email address by going through, it's called a shim, and that's just a technical term. It's a way of using another email address to then forward on, and we could mask it by putting something here. So, it would actually then redirect to a person that instead. And so it would just funnel through an email account I've created called summitwallercommunity@gmail.com. And that's actually where the calendar right now that's on the main website, the homepage is there. So I can start doing stuff like that. It's just a matter of making sure it goes to the right email address and that the person on the other end accepts that, because I have to do initial, do you want to allow this email address to forward to you? And then just to go through the yes, okay, let that email forward to me.
All right.
Okay, so that's on the contact page here, but this was a sample contact test page I've created. This is a form that people can go through and actually submit the first one I mentioned earlier. This is on the website, but it's not linked to anything. And just ask some basic information, and we can capture things like, are they a member already supporting? Are they not? They want more information or not at all? And then just a little confirmation. So this can't be manipulated by online bots that scour the web and try to spam people. So
Yeah, we've been scammed, attempts to scam us several times.
yeah, people get that on a regular basis. So because your email address is on the website for sure.
Yeah.
Same with Dan.
Dan's is on there too.
Yeah. But other than that, I think we're doing pretty good on the overall layout. The board meetings, of course, are still showing the information as it's due to the coronavirus. It's been canceled until further notice. This little calendar widget's nice. People can go through and just check that out. And if they want to look for more information, they can. And it'll just keep on going. Because I've actually got this inside that Google Calendar for that Summit Waller community address. And it's pre-populated there. So right now, me and Angela, I think, are the only two people that have access to add to it. We can change that as much as we want, but you have to have a Google account to do so, a Gmail account. And I know we dealt with that today with you, Larry. And then the old local news that was there before was kind of a clunky widget that was in there to the right. And that pulls from the Prairie Post. So I added something similar in function. And then, of course, down a little bit lower, there's that Instagram I was talking about, where we can go through and click on there, so people can submit that. And I'll be changing this from hashtag Summit Waller to whatever we decide on that poll on the Facebook page.
Great.
Yeah.
Gabe?
Yep.
So 2 things. First is the notice that we've canceled the Adopt a Road.
Has not been put up yet, yeah.
Okay, and the second is something caught my eye on a previous page you had up. It said that our meeting location is behind Central Avenue. So isn't that, at what point is Central Avenue being pulled down and where is it being rebuilt? Is that going to stay accurate? Are they rebuilding the same spot? And just, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, they're rebuilding on site.
They are on site, so then that doesn't need to change. Okay, I
Right.
just wanted to check on that.
Yeah, as far as I understand, the community center is staying right there, and access to it's going to always be back there.
Right, I just
Yeah.
wanted to know if Central Avenue was staying there.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
the description remained the same.
My understanding is that as soon as the, Collins Elementary students move over to their new school, then Central Avenue students will go to the old Collins School, and then demolition and construction will begin with Central Avenue.
Okay. And then they're
Right.
rebuilding on site.
Correct. And right,
What's the timeline on that?
you'd have to go to the Franklin Pierce School District website, and it would be there. But
Right.
I believe that Central Avenue will be probably about the last school that will be constructed. And I would have to go back to the Franklin Pierce School District website to find out when that's going to occur. I can email people that timeline, or you can go to the Franklin Pierce School District website yourself. Right now, Summit Water is relocating a fire hydrant as you go into off of 44th, and that street will be widened, and that's where school buses will come in and out off of 44th, is my understanding, and talking with Don Brunson today. So that street's going to be in a mess for a while.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the website?
Other than awesome job, Gabe.
Oh,
Thank
thanks.
you so much. Yeah, this is like every time I go there, I'm like, this is so much better. Oh, finally. It's just like, just needed the right person to come along and understand.
That's what got me involved. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And can you remind me, Gabe, are you an alternate board member?
Not yet. No,
Not yet. Okay.
not yet.
All right.
I do consider him part of the board, however.
Well, I know, but I'm
I'm
looking
an
at the.
adjunct position.
You are. I'm looking at the notes, and I'm like, well, is he a guest or is he a board member? So I was trying to
I'm
figure
the
out how to.
webmaster.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
just
are
put him
the
down
web-
as a webmaster for now.
Indeed.
Okay, if there are no further questions to Gabe, let's move on down to Canyon Rim Estates. Dan, I was going to have Dan here go over that. Of course, we have all seen copies of both the brief that was sent in and also the reply brief that was sent in. Currently, Dan does not do Zoom. His wife does. His kids do. He doesn't. I'm going to try and convert him to, or actually persuade him to maybe investigate that. He really needs to do that, I think. I mean, the only two people that aren't a part of our Zoom board meeting tonight are John, and I'm not sure why, but Dan just doesn't do Zoom.
So another option for people that don't necessarily want to install Zoom, they can actually just call in like a conference call. And that number is actually part of that invite. So there is that option. And that's just a regular old phone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he doesn't have a cell phone.
Does he not put his money in a bank either?
I don't know.
I live half a mile from Dan. He can be invited over and we can Zoom together. If that will get him here.
That's a good solution. I will tell him about that.
Yeah,
And then if
Totally.
you'll
totally serious. He can come down. In fact, I think I have another laptop, so he can even have his own laptop, and I'll use the other one.
well, before we move on to well, go ahead, Bob. I wanted you to say something about the Canyon Rim Estates.
Okay, well, just a reminder, last August at the MCAC meeting, the commission in their advisory vote voted 3-0, 1 abstention to recommend disallowing the major amendment to the plat. at that time, we kind of thought that, well, maybe Northwest Cascade would modify things. And apparently they didn't, because not too long ago, up pops this meeting with the hearing examiner. And so recently, while Gina and I were out for a walk, we happened to meet a couple of our neighbors over on 62nd, one who was just recently moved into one of those nice big houses, another who's building one on 62nd. Both of them were very much opposed to having 16 homes going across the street from them. And then I also sent a letter along with a couple of other documents to all the people who own properties that have yet to be developed or are maybe close to being finished. I did get a reply from one person who happens to be a retired attorney who was very concerned about what's going on and wanted to know what he could do. The members of the commission had received an email saying that Northwest Cascade had asked for a postponement of the meeting following Dan's brief that he sent in that we all got to see. But not until today did I get confirmation that the meeting has been postponed. So we don't know when another meeting before the hearing examiner might happen. But I did receive a link for a Zoom meeting tomorrow that's going to be held with county staffers and the representatives of Northwest Cascade to discuss how they're going to proceed, apparently. So I'll get in on that meeting and just sort of sit like a fly on the wall and find out what they discuss. And that's where it is right now.
Well, I would just like to say that I am totally impressed with the legwork that you have done with this Canyon Rim Estates, and also I was very impressed with both the brief that you and Dan put together, and also the reply brief that I believe Dan put together that pretty rapidly. Very professional. I was very impressed. I'm not sure what the others on the board feel about that, but that's my sentiments.
I concur. I think you did an excellent job, or both of them did, in the content and presentation.
Absolutely.
I've driven by that stretch several times, and every time I'm wondering, no way would I buy a house with if you go out your back door and walk a few paces, you're gonna rapidly go downhill into the abyss below. I mean, it's
Well, it might be 10 years worth of bringing in fill, and supposedly whatever they're doing meets whatever requirements the state has. But given that we live in an earthquake zone, there's no way I would buy a house that's built on that much fill.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Having a house and you can put a slide in the back that just goes down that hill might be an awesome thing for kids. You know,
Especially
they
in
did
the
it at an
wintertime.
elementary school in Tacoma, so I know it can be done.
Especially in a wintertime
Oh,
situation,
yeah.
perhaps.
Don't mind the rocks.
Thank you, Bob. All right, let's move on to the streetlight request. I did put out some time ago your thoughts on additions to a streetlight request. I'm thinking we will still submit one with the coronavirus and its impact on budgets. I'm not sure whether there'll be any money to implement any of our requests, but I think we should submit some. My thoughts were this. I would like to have one street light at 88th and Vickery, another street light at 92nd and Vickery. That pretty much takes care of all of Vickery, the major cross streets in our area. I would have liked to put something where 64th meets Vickery, but I don't, you have to have an existing utility pole in which to put them on. That's one of the requirements for us to submit streetlight requests. I would also like to put a streetlight at 47th and 80th. That's would light up the last major trailhead to Orange Gate Park. And also one where Daffodil Estates is. There's quite a bit of traffic coming in and out of Daffodil Estates, and there's an existing utility pole there. It's at 57th Avenue and 84th Street East. So if anybody has any further suggestions as potential streetlights locations, if you if you can get those to me in the next couple of days. Yeah, you know, there really isn't much, because that kind of, it goes into a Y. It's, you'd have to have streetlights on both ends, and I don't believe there's
Yeah, there's, yeah, I just pulled it up there for
Well-
you. So there's one utility pole, and that's on the straightaway of Vickery, and then going up to the Y, there's one at the top of the Y.
yeah.
And Larry, I used
Yeah,
to
there
live
is a
near
street
there.
light up there already.
There really isn't a need for a light at that place, at that site.
Okay, all right. All right, I got you. I just threw that out there to see what kind of comments I'd get. Anybody else have any ideas right now? I mean,
Unmute. Is
how about
there
over?
is there a utility pole at 48th and Waller?
Yeah, we, about 3-4 years ago, I requested a street light there, and Tacoma Power came back and said they could not put up a street light there because there's too many wires.
Really?
Really,
Can we try again?
I can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. There actually is a ton of wires there.
They also need a painted line,
You know, a dash line or something to indicate
something
the, yeah.
to show. Do you know how difficult it is to make that turn when it's pitch black and it's at an angle when you're turning, when you're heading south and you're turning left? It's a tricky turn,
Yeah.
and there's no line on the road.
You know, with that odd angle.
Yeah, it's a really odd angle.
Well, I will, tomorrow I'll drive down there and just kind of look over it. Well, you've got, see, that's one of those big utility poles that I don't think they consider they put streetlights on.
Yeah, that one doesn't have a bunch of wires, but this one really does.
Yeah, that's the one
That's
that they
the
were,
one we want.
yeah, that's the one they wanted to put, we wanted them to put the streetlight up, and they said, no, there's too many wires.
But this one might be a happy medium here on the other side of the street.
But I think those are PSE poles that
Oh.
are inactive.
Ah,
They go all the way up Waller Road, but I don't think they have any. They're not live.
Oh, I see.
Mhm. Those are all over. We have them on 104th. They have them all over Waller. They're all over the community. They, once PSE has that right of way, they don't give it up, even if there's not an active line on it.
Okay. Well, should I request a street light and a pole just to see what happens?
yeah, just try it. I mean, there's probably no money, but it's worth a
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
And maybe I'll request some paint.
Well, all right. All right, that would be good.
So this is one bonus of doing Zoom is you can do this, and you can't do this really at a meeting.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
it's
Cannot.
awesome.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. All right. I would like to say Gabriel really helped my wife and I out today with our different computers, and so I would highly recommend, if you have computer issues, Gabriel's a good guy to go to.
Oh, thanks.
How much do you charge an hour, Gabe?
125.
Oh,
I give you guys a good break on the first visit.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on down to the League of Women Voters request that I sent out to you, I think yesterday, or it may have been earlier today. I know that Don has already inputted his thoughts about the League of Women Voters. Angela, I know you have some comments that you could provide about the League of Women Voters and our past efforts that we've had with them in regards to candidate forums at the Mid-County Community Center.
Yeah, I haven't read their letter yet. Are they asking us to
Yeah, let me go get it. I'll be right back.
are they asking us to co-sponsor one this fall?
Yeah.
Actually, earlier before the primary, which for
Okay,
our
yeah.
area is pretty pointless because none of the races in the 25th are there. There are no contested primaries within the parties, and so everybody who has filed is going to go to the general. The only races that we're voting on that are contested are going to be lieutenant governor and the 10th CD.
Yeah,
I
what
just
they-
shared the screen.
What they want us to do is be co-sponsors, and it says that the only thing that there's no expenses because the forum is going to be online, and the only commitment is to help with publicity, principally through notifying and encouraging participation by our membership.
Well, we know how that goes based on the last one we had, which was pretty small turnout.
Yeah, it was a pretty small turnout. However, I could email promoting the forum whenever it's set up from the membership that I have emails.
Sure, and we could always put it on our Facebook page and web page if we
Website.
wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah. I know Don has some concerns about the maybe the left leaning of the League of Women Voters. I don't think we have.
I didn't say that in my email.
Okay, correct me, Don.
No, hey, I actually went onto their website and read line for line most of it. And boy, I don't subscribe to their agenda at all. They are not a nonprofit corporation, so therefore they can spend their money any way they want within their own bylaws. I view them as kind of a organization and guise of a political action committee. And so therefore, I don't feel that I want to give them a platform to present whatever views they may or may not have that I agree with. That's just my opinion. I don't like their underlying political presentation.
Anyone like to comment on that?
I'm looking up a website that's called influencewatch.org, and you can look up different associations in there. They'll tell you more of an unbiased review of different organizations out there, especially if they're politically minded. I don't have anything beyond that, just saying that, but it does seem they have a liberal nonpartisan activities, anti-trip activism. They actually go about different information in there. So it doesn't give a conclusive thing whether or not they lean one way or the other, but at least that gives you a little bit more of an idea from someone else other than their own writing.
What was that website again, Gabe?
It's influencewatch.org.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any events that they've held that I've attended, their participation is only in hosting the event, facilitating the event. The candidates have a chance to do a presentation, much like the candidate forum that we've held. And then there are questions from the audience, but they don't actually insert themselves into the discussion.
That's correct, as
Mhm.
far as our experience with the League of Women Voters, and they have moderated at least one of our candidate forums. And I didn't get an impression of any leaning, and as Bob mentioned, they did not insert anything from their group into the candidates forum.
It looks like
When-
there are a bunch of different associations kind of tied under one banner. And so I think regionally, you're probably gonna see some different leanings based on the demographics of the area, from what I'm finding.
So I
Gabriel,
just
what-
pulled up their
Yeah.
website, and it
Yeah.
says that for voter service and citizen education, we present unbiased, nonpartisan information about elections, the voting process, and issues. Then it has a bullet for action advocacy. We are also nonpartisan, but after study, we use our positions to advocate for or against particular policies in the public interest.
I think that's part where it comes to their localized bias.
Mm-hmm.
So it might just be easier if you guys, not necessarily right now, but Google League of Women Voters bias. That gives you just a whole bunch of search results that'll give you some more information that you can look up and come to a better determination on your own.
Okay, all right.
I do that with a lot of websites out there with a lot of the stuff going on in the news. I tend to run a lot of websites through a bias check to see what different people are saying of their slant, so you can see where they're coming from.
Mhm.
At this point, what sort of response should I give them?
When do they need a response by?
They didn't say, they just opened the opportunity. But they did say that I actually take that back. It says in the last paragraph, admittedly, the request for co-sponsors has a short timeline before publicity materials must be prepared. If this current timeline does not permit your group to make a decision, please consider co-sponsorship for the series of candidate forums which will be held prior to the general election on November the 3rd. So I
Oh,
need
because
some,
the other one is August, I see. Okay.
yeah. They're looking for the primary right now.
Mhm.
Personally, I don't see an issue with it. It doesn't cost us anything. It's a way to get our name out as being civically active. And this is a place where they are definitely a nonpartisan organization.
We are not considered a charity. We are considered a civic educational kind of group.
Mhm. Oh, and one other thing, as far as sources, when you're trying to find out about an organization, another really good place to go is called sourcewatch.org.
Yeah, it's a good one too. A lot of times my Google searches, when I say bias at the end, well, that's one of the sources I get sent to.
Gabriel, what was the one that you recommended? Influence?
Let's see, it was
Influencewatch.org.
influencewatch.org. But that came up as one of the top results when I did a Google search. So that's where I actually got it from. It's not a recommendation of that one particular, but it's just enter whatever you're entering or looking up for. And then after it, just put bias. And usually you get a lot of results about independent watch groups that check out each other's sites to hold each other in check.
Yeah.
Fair is fair, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if do we want to take a vote tonight, or do we? I can give you a couple of days to get back with me about your feelings about whether we should co-sponsor for both the primary and the general election, or whether we shouldn't. Shouldn't do the primary, just the general election, or or whether we do both or don't do both.
Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we go ahead and sign up as co-sponsors of the event.
Is there a second after Bob?
I'll second it.
Jen Bosworth seconds it. Any other discussion? All right, I think we've talked about this enough. Let's have a vote, voice vote. Or do we, Angela, do you think we need a roll call vote?
I don't know.
Or we can do
Yes.
thumbs up.
I don't
Or you
know.
can do it in chat too.
I'm not sure how to do a
How'd you
thumbs
do
up.
that?
Yeah,
Oh, in the top right corner, there's 3 little dots and it says
Yeah.
more. And when you open that up, you have a choice of a clap, a thumbs up, or
Top
you
right.
can tap on chat where you can type in comments, yay or nay.
I don't
Huh.
have it. Upper
I don't
right.
see it.
Hmm.
Yeah, across the top, you should see a mute for
Yeah, I
your,
see the 3 little buttons, but I'm not seeing.
when you click on it,
Uh-huh.
you don't see a drop-down menu.
Yeah, it says mute my audio, stop video, rename.
Huh, you've got a different menu.
Oh,
I do too.
I have a reactions button.
I do too.
hmm.
I think I'll just go ahead and do a roll call vote. Bob, your vote?
Aye.
Angela?
Aye.
Jen?
Hi.
I need to scroll down. Don?
Nay.
Okay. Russell?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Okay, 5, 6. Who am I missing?
Lisa.
Oh, Lisa. Sorry, Lisa.
I'll say aye. I liked working with them last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. Okay. Is there anybody left?
Yourself.
Okay.
Yourself.
I only vote if there's a tie,
Larry.
but I would have voted aye. I mean, I liked working with them. I thought they did a very professional job when they handled our candidates forms.
Mhm.
Okay, I will respond to them that we will be co-sponsor. Well, we have a vote. The motion carries, and I will contact, email back that we will be we're willing to be co-sponsors.
Hmm.
All right, moving on to, there was this update on the farm that was canceled on the 14th and has not been rescheduled. The Neighborhood Watch meeting was canceled for June the 5th at the community center.
Mhm.
And our Adopt a Road for Saturday, June 20th has been canceled. And I put any alternatives because there was a suggestion that maybe we just put out, we are going to have to put something on our website and Facebook page about that. Do we want to, I don't think we, liability-wise, should encourage people to go out and pick up garbage on their own. Someone also suggested maybe we have just an alternative, how should I put it? Work party sometime. And maybe schedule something on just on our own, either just for our board members, or I suppose we could put some sort of word out that there's going to be a work party to pick up garbage along Waller Road on such and such a date.
Like a non-sanctioned event. I'm in.
A non-sanctioned event, yeah.
I'm in.
Or just the word is out there that maybe there's going to be an unofficial work party to pick up garbage along Waller Road on such and such a time.
I just ordered my grabber arm thing, whatever it's
Oh, did
called.
you? Well, go out and use it, Jen.
Well, it has to arrive. I ordered it today from Amazon.
Oh, did you? How
Yep.
much was it?
$10.
Okay. You know, probably the best grabbers that I use, I get from Harbor Freight.
Mm.
They're $10, but with that 20% off coupon, you can get it for about $7.
Yeah, you can look inside your mailers that come in with them, and they actually have them sometimes like $3 or $4 for the same ones. Yeah, I picked up a couple the last time I had a sale.
Okay.
Yeah, these have a red handle. The only thing you have to do is to put heavier screws for the suction cups. The screws that come with them tend to be substandard, and they'll loosen up just real quick. So you put in a heavier screw, like a sheet metal screw. Get it nice and tight. You don't have to worry about it for a long time.
You could just call this, going back a little bit, but call this community cleanup, and then specify where to meet, the area that you're going to clean up.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you guys have partnership with any businesses that might be able to open their dumpsters for it, or if you wanted to rent a dumpster for the day and say, drop it off at this location, at this dumpster. You know, of course, you end up getting a potential of people just loading up the dumpster with their household trash and oversized things.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, the county will pick up, won't they?
They will. You have to do it. Well, for example, when I pick up garbage around Orange Gate, I set it at the corner of 46th Avenue and 84th Street next to a double arrow sign, and it gets picked up every time I put the garbage there. And I think it's Pierce County Responds that comes by. We could put the garbage there if it isn't too much, or you can set it alongside the road, on the shoulder of the road, and just call 798-6000 and say, hey, you know, there's I want to report some illegal dumping along county right away. Yeah, and they'll get it picked up. I mean, yeah, these people, I've talked with these county crews. They are they will thank you for picking up litter along the road.
Yeah.
And just setting it in one place where they can pick it up. And if you stage it so it's not all spread out, you stage it decent, they really appreciate that. At one point I was told that county crews pick up 6 tons of illegally dumped stuff just on Mondays.
Jeez.
Yeah.
People clean out their house on the weekends and dump it on the
It's
side of the road.
it's something completely absurd, and it's really bad now because of the the landfills have all been closed for recycling and hazardous waste drop off and everything. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like a great Monday.
Yeah. Mattresses, couches, chairs, you name it. Even dead animals, unfortunately.
So maybe I'm just thinking about how we want to help communicate this out to everyone. We could maybe say something about it's. I don't know how I would word it, but it's not canceled completely. We're really encouraging people to actually go out who live along Waller Road to go out and pick up trash in front of their own home. Is one thing that's really helpful. But say maybe the board is going to. Some board members and their friends or, and other community members will be out kind of spot checking it, but a formal pickup just isn't ready to happen based on the county. I don't know how to word it. I'll have to think about it a little bit
Due to
more.
the cancellation of Adopt a Road event, we're
Yeah.
looking to do our own community-based volunteer.
Because we can do our own.
Platform.
And
Facebook's probably a good one.
We can email ourselves to kind of select some time, even on short notice, if the weather's going to be nice, just to go out and spot check some areas. But I think I can phrase something that I can send to Gabriel about that.
Okay.
Post it on a website and then to the Facebook group. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jen, since you're right there on Waller, is it a lot better now since there's so much less traffic for commuters?
Oh, all the traffic is back.
Oh, it's back.
Oh, yeah.
It was light for a while, but now it's gotten
Okay.
back to pretty close to what it used to be.
It was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, while it lasted. Yeah.
Mhm.
We went up to visit our son up in North Seattle, and it only took us 50 minutes to get up to Northgate.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
I know. Going under the convention center is just free-flowing traffic. Usually you're backed up to the old Rainier Brewery
Mhm.
before you, and it's a slow go until you get past the convention center. And now with the West Seattle Bridge out of commission, I have an elderly aunt in West Seattle that we used to go visit. Of course, we can't visit her now because of the coronavirus outbreak, but I will have to go over a different route.
Mhm. So Larry, you're going to draft up some language and then we'll put that on the web page and the Facebook page.
Yeah, I'll do that in the next few days.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right, our next meeting is Tuesday, July the 7th. Time and format will be determined, but I'm pretty much sure it's probably going to be another Zoom meeting.
I had one more item, Larry, that I know that is not on the agenda, but it just
Okay.
came to my mind. So we
All right.
had a resident who lives 48th-ish in Waller, and she posted a post on the Facebook group here recently. She learned that a smoke shop is being proposed there on the S curves at 48th and Waller.
Oh,
Mhm.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the property is in tribal trust, so of course there are no county laws that are going to really matter there. The woman that owns it actually lives maybe just a few blocks south of there, on Waller Road.
Oh,
And
you know, just north of the Waller Road Elementary School, probably near where Paul Martin lives.
Mhm.
The person who purchased the house right there where there's a gravel driveway that goes up at an angle from both sides, so it's kind of a Y thing. That house there was purchased by the people who run Smokin' Willie's.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if that is the person that wants to set up another smoke shop at the 48th and Waller, or could it be a different person?
I want to say the name was, well, the woman that owns the property, her name is Misty, and then the person that she lives with at the same address up on Waller, it's like 50th and Waller Road. Her name is Barbara.
Okay.
It's literally, I mean, it's like there's the S curves there and you go right around the block almost, just around the curve, and it's right there. So it's not
Yeah.
that far up.
Yeah, if
My
it's tribal,
family was surprised. They thought that Dixon owned that property, but he doesn't.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's basically right. So there's the Dixon entrance and then it's the property to
Southwest.
Yeah,
South-
yep. hmm
southwest is kind of a vacant lot in there.
And then there's the little red and white house on the corner. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would just be a nightmare.
Yeah. So they don't have any, the neighbor that was asking about it, of course, she said that they were out there and going to be clearing some trees, but her utilities run through that property with an easement. So she was really concerned about her utility easement. But no one had approached her yet, even though they were going to be tearing down all the trees.
What was her
So-
name? Heather. Her name was Heather, I
I
think.
can't remember. She removed the post, Jen, so you
She
won't.
did.
Yeah, she.
Private messaged me. Let me see if I can find Heather Jones.
Let's see.
Hold on.
On the bright side, they'd probably put up a street light there.
Actually, they probably put up one of those billboards.
Yeah.
They probably
It-
put up a horrible billboard first. Yeah.
It will be daylight 24 hours a day there.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what she wrote. She said that she's working with the owner of the Thunderbird to gather information first. Once she has a contact information, she'll move forward.
Mhm.
She was a very nice lady. She says the tribe is not aware. No permits have been issued. They are all on alert now. Sounds like in order to do anything, they still have to have a process and money to fork out to make anything happen. Happy to know the owner of the Thunderbird is working to help me get information. I deleted the post to not get the owner upset. I was just trying to connect with neighbors and gather as much information as possible.
Yeah.
So what's that gal's name?
Heather Jones.
Mhm.
Well, what I might do is, let's see, Vicky Gord is the owner of the Thunderbird. She's a daughter of Chief Satiacum. We had a talk with her and encouraged her to move into our area, which she did. I'll talk with Dan here tomorrow about that. See, we might, you can't tell the tribe what to do. If they
No.
okay another smoke shop there isn't much we can do about it. But
Mhm.
we already have 3 different places just in the Summit Waller area where people can buy tribal tobacco products.
Yeah. And then more over on Portland Avenue.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that's a little out of our area, but it's still
Mhm.
nearby.
Nearby.
In Canyon.
Okay, Heather's address is 4904 Waller. I don't know if you need that, but
4949.
4904.
But the property address is 4902.
Okay.
That's the property address for the potential smoke shop. And the woman who owns it, his name is Misty Stafford.
She owns the lot.
Yes.
Misty.
Well, she owns it in it's tribal trust, but she's the, I'll call the registered owner. I don't know
Okay.
how else to explain that. So
Misty Stafford.
Stafford, yeah. But she and then like I said, she lives on about 50th and Waller. I think the address was like 5014 or something like that. So she doesn't live very far at all.
Mm.
Okay, so if I get this right, Heather Jones is the one who would like to open up a smoke shop there.
No.
She needs an easement through that land for all of her utilities. And
Oh,
she likes her privacy there, so she's appalled that they would potentially put a smoke shop there.
No, Misty
so
Stafford's
Heather-
the one that owns the
so-
tribal property.
okay, so Heather Jones is a resident in the area,
Yes.
a non-Indian who's not happy about this possibility.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so the property is at 4902,
Mhm.
and Misty Stafford is the property owner, and it's in tribal trust.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up to attention because it had come up through Facebook and we hadn't had a meeting last month, and that's in Jen and Dan's neighborhood, so I figured it would be good to
Yeah.
make
I'll
it
talk with-
aware. So
And I know that Dan doesn't do Facebook either, so
nope, no,
right now there's been no permits issued.
no.
Misty Stafford is just trying to get information from Vicky Gord, or is it Heather that was getting information from Vicky?
Heather was being helped by Vicky.
Okay, what sort of help was do you think Vicky Gord was giving Heather? Ways in which to stop the project?
No, she was just trying to find out if she knew who was proposing it.
Oh, okay, just trying to get information.
Just trying to get information, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here's what she wrote. She said, our power and water run diagonally through the property. The original owner of our land owned it all, so there has to be utility easements and adverse possession of land. But I am digging for help and resources that won't cost me $4,000 of an attorney's fees.
Okay. All right. Is there a contact phone number for Heather Jones?
No, but she's
I don't have
on
her.
Messenger. I guess I could, I mean, I could
Larry doesn't
ask her.
Facebook either, though.
Yeah,
so-
you could ask her and maybe Dan here could get in touch with her.
Mhm.
So if you could get that information and email it to me or give me a call, text me on my cell phone.
Could we ask Dan here if he'd be willing first so that she doesn't get any false hope? I mean, I'm sure Dan will be friendly, but we are volunteering him without his permission. I
Well,
don't want to seem creepy.
Okay, tell you what, I will contact Dan here tomorrow and tell him about this situation and have him give you a call, Jen.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. I mean, seems like we have enough tribal tobacco product stands already,
Yeah.
and I think we have our fill in our rural separator, our semi-rural, our rural environment. I
Yeah.
think we have enough three-sided elevated
Billboard?
billboards, lighted billboards.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Although I think Vicky Gord's one of the Thunderbirds pretty cool, but it's kind of out of place.
It's humongous. It's
Yeah,
just like
it
the
is.
one up on Canyon. It's so huge.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, God, my screen went blank again, but you can see me.
Hmm.
Okay.
I think your screen's just timing out.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If you hit like the arrow keys on the keyboard, see if it wakes it up.
Or the space
Oh.
bar.
Okay, arrow keys. Let's see here. This is
Bottom right.
Yeah. Any keys, escape key, something like that.
Okay, there we go. The
Yeah,
escape
your
key.
screen
did
just
it.
went to sleep is all, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Or move your finger around on the trackpad.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work, but
Oh.
okay, we're good now.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Well, this has been quite an experience with a Zoom meeting.
I would say it might be the first in Summit Waller history.
History.
Definitely.
Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
One last thing, Gabriel and I were talking about allowing Summit Waller, well, guests to come to our meeting as well.
Mhm.
And when in the future we should allow that because we are supposed to have open meetings.
Mhm.
Right now, I'm not comfortable with having other people get in until we get more used to this. But I think within a month or two, we probably should allow other people to come into our Zoom meeting.
It shouldn't be a problem. As long as anybody who wants to be a part of the meeting, potentially we check it against our membership roles to verify who they are. And then when they come in, they can be put into basically purgatory. And Gabe can check them out, approve them, and allow them to enter the meeting.
Mhm.
And I just have to mute and unmute them if they have questions, type of thing. It just
Yeah.
means a little bit more work to hold the meeting if they even want to talk. Most people just sit there and listen. But at least they get the opportunity to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
But in the
Mhm.
meantime, at least we'll be able to record these. I mean, this one's been recorded, and I'll upload this tonight and then have it on the website.
Okay. Maybe that's sort of something we should put on our website, news of the month, and then on our Facebook too. That they can go to our go to a link to see our meeting that we had.
Yeah, we just have to be careful that where that link gets posted so they don't it doesn't get just swamped by a bunch of people trying to cause trouble. You get some
Yeah.
pranksters jumping in and trying to mess with things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I trust that you will put that in a certain place.
We'll try.
Okay, all right.
If it goes bad the first time, we'll learn our lesson pretty quick.
All right.
It's easy to spin off another meeting, go, oops, this one didn't work out, cancel it, and then start up a new one, get everyone in there, and we're back to business. So it's not bad.
Gabe, could we also, rather than broadcasting out to the universe that we're having a Zoom meeting and here's the link, could we say, if you want to be added to it, specifically email this person,
Mhm.
and then that way we could vet them one by one, so they're not 100 people all of a sudden at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and that also
Joining us.
requires them to actually have a valid email address.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's that, and also maybe even, sending it out to the email address list that we have for members as well.
Yeah, that'd probably be better. Yeah.
So I have a question, Gabriel. All of a sudden the Zoom page came up.
Oh yeah, you can close that. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just one that shows up when you first click the link. You must have accidentally clicked off of it, the main Zoom window. Or you can
Oops.
minimize it in the background.
Oops, I think now I'm back to the link, the email to get signed up. To
Oh,
the-
at the very bottom bar where all your taskbar is at, it's the Zoom icon there. It's a little camera in the blue box.
Yeah.
You click on that and it should pop back up for you.
It did. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. It's a learning experience.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I do this at least once a week with my business networking group I'm with. We used to meet face to face at Charlie's every week. Now we're doing 30 people by a Zoom meeting.
Wow.
It's working out. This is our, like 9th one we've done now. So
I see.
yeah,
Well-
Tuesdays, every Tuesday.
I had 2 Zoom meetings today, a Teams meeting and a WebEx meeting today. So I'm about
Wow.
virtual meeting out.
I can see you look a little tired.
And Jen's done with it entirely. She just left.
Everybody. Russell, thank you very much for all you've done lately. I would like to say, Russell, that when I emailed the newsletter out to people, I got about 10 could not deliver signs. And so there's some people that have changed their email addresses, and
Okay.
I might try and give each one a call and explain the situation and see whether they'll give us their new email address.
Okay.
That'll take some time, but
Yeah, and if you get those to me, then I can update them.
yeah.
It's best to do that as we go, so I'm not looking at a conundrum like I had to deal with last time.
Would you have your wife take a look at, you remember the "and" sign that we had originally in a couple of places, or in a few places, that substituted for AND or AND?
Yes.
There's still a couple of those on that list. They're in the emails.
Okay.
I think there's 2 of them. One was Cleveland and the other one I can't remember, but there were 2 of them.
Okay. I'll check that out.
And I think there was one other email that had a dot in it that shouldn't be there. And I think there was one that also had an AOL and was OAL. So just look over the emails one last time, and I think you'll pick up all those little issues.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, anybody else?
I move we adjourn.
All right, it's been moved in. I need a
I will
second. Okay, been moved and seconded by Russell to adjourn our meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All right,
Bye.
so those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks for being a part of it tonight, Lisa. We finally get you on board.
Thanks for changing the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Great to see
Fair
everybody.
Okay. All right. Take care,
Take
everyone.
care, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
good rest of the week.
Bye.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks, Gabe.
Good
Bye,
night.
Bye.
everyone.